Now we take a look at some of the reactions of alkenes. Not all, some first and then others later. So now, where do alkenes come from? Generally, where do alkenes come from? Where do they come from? Basically, reality of alkenes is we get them from cracking. Okay, so generally alkenes come to us from cracking. And you might say, well, what is cracking? Cracking, not a whip, but cracking is a chemical change. Now cracking just means this, that you take a really large molecule and then you slice it in the middle, like that, anywhere in the middle. That's called cracking. So right there, you break it up and you call it cracking. Now what is cracking done through? Is done through high temperature of heating without any oxygen present, because that will cause combustion, and having a catalyst present. And so when you take, for example, so let's say you take something as big as C10H22. It's a very large alkane. And when we crack it, what we get is, sometimes we get something like octane, which is an alkane, and ethene. It is random. It is completely random. You could have broken up into something else. You could have actually also done this, that you could have had a very large alkene and very small alkane. And the idea is, you take a very large guy, you chop it up, but the total number of carbons and hydrogens stay the same. So 8 and 2 is 10, 7 and 3 is 10. 18 and one of them is an alkane, one of them is an alkene. Here, this is the alkane and that's the alkene. Here, this is the alkene and that's the alkane. And this large alkanes comes from crude oil or petroleum. We get them from petroleum. So what is cracking? It takes large alkane molecules and breaks them into smaller useful ones. Now why do you call useful? Because these guys make a lot of chemicals, and octane is used in petrol. Useful. Not very useful. The larger you are, the not very useful you are. Okay? Yeah. So you take big molecules and convert into smaller molecules. It is a chemical process, not a physical process. And where does it come from? Why do we do this? It's a simple supply demand. Large alkanes have a very large supply. We find them in the oil fields of Iran, Saudi Arabia, Venezuela, Russia, all that stuff. But we want the small fellow, because that has demand. So to balance the supply and demand equation, we take the guys in large supply, break them up into the guys that are in large demand. That's literally it. The big guys are unwanted, the small guys are really wanted. That's what we do. And you can crack anything. You can take a fellow that is C16, let's say C16H34. You can make a small alkene and a large alkane, 16 and 26 and 28. Or you can make it into a small alkane and a large alkene. Understand? You can also make a small alkane and two alkenes. C1 is 15, C8, 816, and C7, 814. What any combination, all you got to make sure is the total number of carbons are the same. So if you notice 16, 1, 8, 7, 16. 6, 28, 34. 11, 24, 34. 4 and 10, 20, 30, 34. Okay. Done. And that is an importance because remember, it makes shorter chain alkanes, and the whole purpose is it makes shorter chain alkanes and alkenes. Why? Because there are raw materials in many products in the world, for polymers, for medicine, for drugs, for many more things. Okay. So large chain, not as popular, low demand. Short chain, high demand. And how is it done? You don't need to know the name of the catalyst. It's done through high temperatures and a catalyst. All you want to know is that it's done through okay. So if I ask you to see if you can balance this, right? I give you C8, H18 makes C2H4 and what else? This is also cracking. What else? So the first one you have C6H14 and the second one you have C4H10. Yep. All right. So that's cracking. That part is done. The next part we're going to take a look at is combustion. Combustion of alkenes. Because we've done the combustion of alkanes already. Now here I am writing an equation of combustion. In fact, I can balance it also. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the reason why I'm doing that is because just like alkanes, alkenes also undergo combustion. Basically all hydrocarbons, even alcohols, burn in oxygen to form carbon dioxide and water. So alkanes undergo combustion, alkenes undergo combustion. Both of them do. And alkenes and alkanes both burn and they're very flammable. And all you gotta do is just write the balance equation. That's all you gotta do. And sometimes you might need fractions to balance it, and that's perfectly okay. But let's say I give you C4H8. It burns in excess oxygen to form a lot of carbon dioxide and water. And you are asked to balance the equation. You are asked to write the balance equation, which means you must know that the hydrocarbon burns to form carbon dioxide and water, and then how do you balance it? So what is the coefficient for O, C and H? And my suggestion is always balance the C first, then the H, and then the O, stepwise. Do step number 1 first. How? Well, the C4, I put a 4 there. H8, so I need 8 H's, but I already have 2, so I need to put 4 times 2 to make it 8. And then only do you combine this to find O's. So how many O's do I have? 4 times 2 is, O is 8 plus 4 is 12. So how many O's do I need here? What times 2 is 12? 6. And so you will be given balancing equations for this, really. The other one is, let's say, And I said, no, C is the first step, H second step, and O is the third step. So how many C's I used up here? You got 3 here. So I gotta put 3 there. How many H's? 6, 2, 3. You see that so far? Yeah. Now you go to O's. Well, the first, this is 3 times 2 is 6 plus 3 times 2, because these are just steps. Remember, these are just steps. 1 step, 2 step. The plus 3. That's 9 oxygens. So I want this to become equal to 9. How do I make this equal to 9? What times 2 is equal to 9? 9 over 2. And you can use fractions. Another word for 9 over 2 is 4.5. You can use decimals also. Absolutely okay to write that. So here you could write this as 4.5. So if I erase all of this, I can write 4.5. Now people don't like fractions, and I don't know why people go to ages of 16 and can't handle fractions. My daughter, when she was 10, was very okay with fractions. Life is okay in fractions. I don't know why we go to chemistry and we stop liking fractions. Some people want to not have this as fractions. I do not know why, and that's what leads to errors, because they try to overcorrect this. It is 9 over 2, not 9 over 3. So if you're wondering, let me do this again here. So let's do this all over again, because the moment we got fractions, everybody thought I'm doing like university level calculus now, because clearly fractions were never taught to us. Again, sarcasm here, guys. So I got 3 C's here, so I put 3 C's. 6 H's, 3 times 2 is 6. I can multiply. I'm good with that. So how many O's do I have? 3 times 2 is 6. Plus 3 times 1 is 3. 9. I want this, or whatever this number is, x times 2 needs to equal to 9. So if x times 2 has to equal to 9, what is x? 9 over 2. So 9 over 2 times 2 is 9. And why did I want 9? Because the right hand side has 9 oxygens. We did that math right now. So let's apply this again. So, and by the way, 9 over 2 can be written as 4.5 also. And it's equally correct in the exam. Nothing wrong with this. In fact, it is better if you learn this now, because all your life later you're going to be writing fractions or decimals. Some people insist, no, multiply by 2. Sure. 2, 9, 6, 6. Sure, if you want to do that. I just find it to be a waste of time. And then try this one out. I need you all to try this. Balance this yourselves. Pause this lesson and balance it, and then play it again. So you would get 5 carbons and 5 hydrogen molecules, water molecules. That is 10 plus 5, 15 oxygens. So you'll need 15 over 2 or 7.5. Okay? Yeah. Capiche?